Probably the most organic meme coin of this cycle is something with the tagline "Hot Air Rises," and that is Fartcoin. Now, Fartcoin is something that I completely dismissed when people were shilling it to me, or one particular person, on live streams at like $22 million as a market cap. It bounced all the way up to like 2.8-ish billion, 2.5 billion, something insane. But now, even though it's already done a major run-up from its lows at like 20 cents, I'm pretty interested in it because it looks like it's respecting TA very well, and it's organic and it's funny. Farts are funny. So let's quickly go through this TA. Let me know what you think. If you disagree or agree, I'm keen to hear it. So here's a one-day chart for Fartcoin versus USD. We're using down here the stock RSI, and the stock RSI is different from the RSI because RSI is just typically it measures the momentum of price changes, and then overbought 70. So over 70, you typically want to take some profit if it's a good token. Nothing's financial advice, of course, just general rules. Oversold is 30. Gets down really low or beneath 30, you might think, okay, I want to pick some up. Especially if you look at it on a higher time frame, like a day or a week, maybe 4 hours sometime. With the stock RSI, it's the momentum of the RSI itself, not the price. With TradingView, it's showing 0 to 100, so we'll factor this as 80 and this as 20. It's more sensitive, but it seems to be working pretty well here. This is a daily chart, so if you looked at it on the daily and then checked it on the 4 hour, you'd get even more confirmation. And we've got the fib here, and basically it's respecting the levels very, very nicely. Now, from the all-time high to the all-time low, you can see it's got quite a bit of room to get up there, but I actually think it will, and it could probably go quite a bit higher. You can also see when you're looking at the stock RSI, every time we dip quite low, this is one here, one example here. All these, they tend to be like really decent times to enter, even if they don't go low, super low, because this is such a strong token. This is also very indicative that it looks good. Here again, from there to the top is like 30%, another one. So pay attention to that. The other really important thing is the fact that versus BTC, it's actually outperforming BTC, and not a lot of things are. We've covered this before, but Ben Cohen's talking about Bitcoin versus alts. Bitcoin will outperform alts as a total. He's not specifically speaking about Fartcoin or maybe some others, like hopefully Solana outperforms Bitcoin in the short term, right? Like in the long term, so will, I think, of course. But in the short term, there's quite a bit more Bitcoin dominance. So with this one here, with looking at it versus Bitcoin, we can see that hot air is rising. It's certainly rising, and it's now playing around here at the 0.5 level. So if we go over this is very, very bullish. Got a couple of screenshots here just to show you how strong it is. So this is Bitcoin, 11th of March had a lower low, and then 7th of April had another lower low. Then same chart, but Fartcoin actually pushed higher. It's a higher low, so it had more strength a month and a half ago. Now, what we're seeing when we're adding our fib tool is you can DCA however you want. But let's say you have $1,000 that you want to deploy. Maybe you put 30%, like $300 at 0.382, another 30% at 0.5, and then at this stage, the remainder here, or maybe save a small amount for this, but probably not this. At this stage, you can see it's respecting this. We'll talk about taking profits in a moment. So we come on down to these levels, we buy some. We drop again, we buy some. You can see here, this is a day candle, remember? We drop again, down here, you buy some. You can just set the limit orders. You can do it with DYOR, you can do it on a centralized exchange. You could probably do it with Drift and some other platforms that hold a Fartcoin. And then like this is just very much in profit. Then we find the next swing low, swing high. Same thing applies here, it only dipped down to a 0.382. Of course, you don't want to go in with your whole bag here, because if you dip down further, well, then you've revenge trading. You want to DCA in at each level. On this occasion, just 30% of your bag would have been deployed, and then you take profits. Once again, 30% here, you would get a little bit in here and a little bit in here. So you would have deployed maybe the majority, or you may not even hold any for this level. And of course, this most recent one, you've got 2 levels which you hit. You didn't hit this other level. Now, this current one, you can see it's hit here. So we've got some room to go. It's hit this one and it's hit this one. So already this one and this one are already in profit if we were to enter. And you can just do this with spot. I'm not saying leverage or anything like that. You can even do this with Meteor as a DLMM tool. That way you get those MET points. Do it with Hawkfire, which I'll start to put more content out on. That way you can have aggressive take profits and just set reminders. It is the fastest, like hot air is rising. It's outperforming so many things. You've got this and you've got Hype, couple of others, but not as strong as this. Virtuals is doing well at the moment, but we want to put our eye back on this. Another thing is taking profits towards the trend line is potentially a good idea. You can see it's really respecting this trend line. We've come up here, we'll come on down, come on up again, take some profits, wait for it to come on down. And if it does do this kind of movement, well, then we miss out on some profits. But I don't think that this is a likely thing. I think it's going to be a nice, respectable thing at present. How long does this go for? I don't know. But Fartcoin, it's potentially going to be like the Shiba Inu of this cycle. It's organic. It was funny. It's meme worthy. It's farting. I've got a couple of other favorites, but I think this could potentially do pretty well. With this one here, you can have a look when we factor in where the max point is and like the most bullish sentiment. If you break that, then we have to rechart it. So having a little bit of moon bag that you may want to take at profit levels somewhere up here is what I'm personally doing. You can do it yourself or you can ignore that. I don't mind. But I mean, there's quite a bit of resistance here at the 0.5 level and you want to break clean above it for us to have a bit of upward momentum, of course. But it's already been doing really, really nicely. And then looking at it versus Bitcoin, it's the same deal. It's struggling a little bit at the 0.5. It's hitting it and there's resistance. But this could also potentially be a nice Meteor range from here to here. Like you could trade that and then the trading fees you get from Fartcoin, just put them into a bid-ask system, so specifically an ask, and just have a whole lot of upside and just let it run there and preferably put it with USDC. That's my preference because Sol's going to appreciate, Sol could appreciate or depreciate. USD is probably a little bit better bet for this particular trade. And you can also trade this on Hyperliquid as well. My referral over there is Seb Monty. That's my thesis for Fartcoin. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And when you make some profits, remember, I'm bullish on Sol. Stake some Sol, stake it with fellowdata.com.